And to start us off, we're going to have Sarah and Kristen introduce themselves and their organization.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, great. I am Sarah Paperno. I'm the president and CEO at Northeast Site Services, and this is Kristen Lilly. She's our vision resource manager and vision rehabilitation therapist in our area. So Northeast Site Services, we're coming to you live from our Vision Resource Center. We're located in Exeter, Pennsylvania, right on Wyoming Avenue. So if you know where Sabatini's Pizza is, you know where we are. We're just a couple of buildings away. And we've been in existence for over 100 years. Our main focus during that time has been to help people who are blind and visually impaired live an independent lifestyle in our local community. We do that in several different ways. We have vision rehab therapy, like I discussed, and Kristen can go into someone's home and help to retrofit their area so that they're able to cook and clean and do all the things that that they can do without their vision, but need to be trained in order to do that. We also have in-home support where we're able to go into someone's home and write checks and read their mail and do whatever those individuals would need to live independently. We also have education and instructional programs here in our and we have a book club. We have all kinds of different things to get people active in the community. And we also have, like I mentioned, our Vision Resource Center. We have all kinds of different low vision aids. We have magnifiers and all the things that people would need to be able to live independent in their home and within the community. So we did shift a little bit prior to the pandemic from working only with the individual who has this physical disability to focus more on changing to more of a community inclusive approach. And Kristen's going to talk a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, so our mission has always been to help people become as independent as possible. But even with that training, it can still be really intimidating to go out into the community if you feel like businesses there aren't welcoming towards you and your needs, such as, you know, going out for dinner and not being able to read the menu, or going to a doctor's appointment and the staff there not knowing how to properly guide you back to the exam room, things like that. So we put together a staff training presentation where we can come out to your business and help educate the staff about what it is to have low vision, the different forms that it might take, like the most common things you might encounter, especially in the senior population living here. And then get into, you know, do's and don'ts of interacting with those with visual impairments, like don't interact with service animals, but, you know, do always offer assistance if they need it. And then talking about, you know, how they can best lay out their physical space to be welcoming to those with a visual impairment, like large high contrast signage and things of that nature. Also giving them tips on how to make sure their website is fully accessible to those with a visual impairment, like making sure that those with a screen reader can access all of your content. And then finally, we do a hands-on training where we can train the staff on how best to guide somebody through the space. And then we do provide them with a toolkit at the end of things that they can keep to help make their space more accessible. Like if people have to fill out forms, we give them a sign guide that they can use with people, and magnifiers that they might hand out at restaurants to help people read their menu better. So all things like that to help the community be more welcoming and fully accessible to those living here with visual impairments. And if you guys have any input I'd like to recommend, we're all ears. And if you have a business that you would, like us to come in and help train, we're all, welcome to do that.
Thank you, Sarah and Kristen. If you want to learn more about Northeast Site, they'll be in breakout room 1 when we go into breakouts. But now let's hear from Frank from NAACP Inclusive.
Well, thank you for having me. NAACP Inclusive was started about 8 years ago under some, basic ideas that, we think people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and autism and other forms of disabilities should really just have a typical life. And in doing that, we strive to help support inclusive and sustainable lives for people with disabilities. One of our visions, really our vision, I guess, statement is that people with intellectual developmental disabilities would be fully engaged in their community. And, so what does that mean? That means, they should vote, right? Everybody should have a right to their voice. I just read some interesting information last week that there's something like 40 million people in America that identify with disabilities. And of those, a higher percentage of people, 71% with disabilities versus like 59%, actually voted in the last presidential election because they thought it was important. We believe that people with intellectual disabilities should volunteer in their community, should shop in their businesses in their community, should work in vocations of their interest. And we should find ways to find out what their interest really is and what their skill set really is. And we should try to find positions where they could be successful in employment. One of the big things we find with employment for people with disabilities is, they get that first job and it's not a match and it's a bad experience. And then they don't want to go back to work. So how do we change that dynamic? How do we start them out on the right path? We're headquartered in Pittston. Our biggest county of support that we support people is in Luzerne County. We're in Luzerne, Lackawanna County, the Poconos, into the Lehigh Valley now, also in the Berks County, in Columbia County. We work mainly with 2 contracts with the state of Pennsylvania. The Office of Developmental Programs has what's called the ID waiver system. You might see this more in terms of people who live in group homes and go to day programs. We provide one-on-one support services for those individuals so they can remain in their own homes with their families or transition into their own apartments and support them living in their own apartments, living in the community. We also work with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, which is the employment side of our work. And in that environment, we help high school students do work training and paid work experiences and other types of job training programs. And as they age out into the adult world, we help adults with disabilities find jobs and job coach them to success in jobs. We also have started a few new initiatives recently. And one is the Smart Tech Resource Center and Drop-In Lounge in our downtown Pittston office, powered by All One Foundation. And that concept was, the realization that smart technology is evolving to a point where it's readily available and can help people with disabilities live more independently through ease of use and functionality issues. So we have a small demo center, a beta site, if you will, in downtown Pittston, where people can come in and see it in action and see how it turns on the TV, see how it can turn blinds up and down. It's simple stuff. Hey, Alexa, turn the lights on, turn the TV on channel, 25, whatever you want to watch, and so on. That center also doubles as a drop-in lounge for people we support and people in the community. People we support, we don't have day programs, we don't have group homes, and they may not have, let's say, internet access in their own apartment, or they might not have cable television in their own apartment, or it might be cold out in the wintertime, or it might be raining out. And so they can come into the drop-in lounge and hang out and watch TV, watch a sports game, or play games with other people that we support. That room is available to the general public if you wanted to have a meeting in there, or if you wanted to come in and see that facility. And in the advocacy world, that drop-in center, the smart technology side, we did a bunch of seminars over the last couple of years to educate the community and the public, parents of people with disabilities and people with disabilities, how smart technology could impact them. We have some new initiatives that we're working on. One is transitional employment, which is part of our OVR contracts and part of what we've always done. But we think that there's a lot more things we can do in the transitional employment coming out of high school to prepare people for employment options as they graduate. In the diversity and equity world, we are working on helping people that we support get more involved in other organizations and other initiatives out in the community. It's very important that people with disabilities that live in their own apartments, let's say, we help them find their own apartment. We don't want them to be isolated either. So living in their own apartment and just being isolated isn't really great, right? I mean, people are pretty social animals, and we all like to have some socialization. So we help people get involved in local activities. The people that we support, most of the people we support in their own apartments, which is about half of our client load, do not get 24/7 supports. So if they're living in their own apartment, let's say, 20 hours, and we're providing 20 hours a week of support to them, what do they do the rest of the 20 hours? It's important that we help them find natural supports, help them find local activities in the community that they could participate in. Some of the people we support, go to Chaco's in Luzerne County, and they bowl in a regular bowling league, not a disability bowling league. They might go into the community park and just go for a walk. Learning how to take public transportation so they could get to the mall, or they can get to the downtown of Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and do shopping or do some things they want to do. And again, part of that is helping them find volunteer opportunities, and also help them to get involved in other organizations and a leadership perspective. So NAACP Inclusive is an organization that just simply helps people live typical lives.
So thanks, Frank. And if you want to learn more about NEPA Inclusive, they'll be in breakout room 2 when we go into the breakouts. Now let's hear from Jamel from NAACP.
Man, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Jamel.
Here. Okay, good morning. Greetings, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Jamel Khalif, president of the Wilkes-Barre NAACP. I want to thank the Greater Wyoming Valley Chamber of Commerce for allowing me to be in this space and to just share a little bit about the NAACP with you all. Well, the NAACP is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, founded in 1909 in response to a race riot in Springfield, Illinois. You guys hear me good?
Jamel, it sounds like your sound's going a little bit in and out.
Give me 1 second. Let me try to fix that. How about now?
That sounds better to me.
Okay, perfect. Figure out how to. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the NAACP was founded in 1909 in response to a riot in Springfield, Illinois.
Sounds like it's going in and out again on you, Jamel. Sorry.
Oh my God. I'm gonna try this. Tell me if this works better. Does this work better?
Yeah, that sounds crystal clear.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna just there again. So the NAACP was founded in 1909 in response to a race riot in Springfield, Illinois, by a diverse group of founders that had Black men, Black women, white women, that were all just interested in eliminating lynching. There was just a lot of different opinions regarding that specific act, and that group got together in, I believe it was Niagara, and they just started just formulating and kind of coming up with the idea to just combat and to go against that. And I think that they did a tremendous job. The NAACP has been around for about 100 years. I mean, we've been advocating on social and different things across the United States, but more specifically in Luzerne County, the NAACP has been around since 1930. The Wilkes-Barre NAACP is one of the oldest branches in our Pennsylvania State Conference. They've had different leaders that have held positions of leadership on our state conference. In Luzerne County, since the inception of the NAACP in 1930, we've been advocating for social, political, educational, and economic equality amongst our community. Furthermore, our branch seeks to eliminate racial prejudice among citizens in our community. And whether it be grassroots campaigning or public demonstration, our branch tries to remain steadfast at the forefront whenever we're advocating for civil rights and social justice. We believe that in order to get the work done, we have to have our boots to the ground in the community and just engaging with those those peoples. We are a volunteer-based organization. No positions are paid, so it's a lot of people power, but we're open. The organization is doesn't discriminate. If you're interested in joining, you can join. It's as simple as going online, or you can get in contact with us. But there's a lot of things that I can get into, but I'll wait for the breakout room.
So thank you, Jamel. All right. And again, if you're interested in learning more about the NAACP, they will be in breakout room 3. So just to kind of summarize, we're going to open the breakout rooms. We're going to give about 10 minutes for each organization, kind of explain a little bit, again, what they do, a little bit more in depth, and how to get involved, different events, stuff like that, and as well as open up for any questions as well. So again, Northeast Site is in breakout room 1, NEPA Inclusive in breakout room 2, and the NAACP in breakout room 3. And I'm hitting the open all rooms now.